Hello, my name is Mark, and I thank you so much for coming by today. Well, as you can see, it's a beautiful day here, and I'm just kind of getting the the view in the background there. As you saw, I am really excited because spring is here, and it's time to get outside and do yard work and all that fun stuff again. So I'm just excited because we live on a beautiful lake, and the lake just seems to come to life with wildlife and just people out and being active. And so I'm excited for the spring. But also, one of the things I want to show you is I got some groceries here, but I also did this today. I don't know if you can see that clearly, but I went and got a vaccine shot today. It's the first of two. So I'm excited about that because now I feel just better about just going out and about. I still wear my mask, of course, but you know, it's a good feeling. My arm is killing me though. Boy, that really, you know, it affects you. It's the Moderna shot, so it definitely affects when you get that shot. The first shot. I feel fine, I feel great, but it's just a very, very stiff arm. But I'm gonna switch my camera around because I wanna show something to you. So like I said, I just went grocery shopping, and one of the things I bought here, so I can get it out of this bag, one of my favorite things to eat is spaghetti squash. If you've never had a spaghetti squash, I really suggest you check it out. I love these things. I don't eat them as much as I used to because I kind of overdid it, but it is a wonderful vegetable that is a great replacement for spaghetti if you're trying to cut down on your carbohydrates. But I'm going to put that over here with some bananas and potatoes and stuff. So that's that. But what I really want to show you is this bag here. Now, I shop at a bunch of different grocery stores. We have Stop and Shop, Market Basket, and we have Whole Foods. So this here is a Whole Foods bag. It's a recycled bag. So I don't know how many times this bag's been recycled. You can see here, paper made from recycled materials. We don't know exactly what the materials are that went into it, but you can see there's a lot of companies involved in the recycle process. So I don't know how many times this bag has been recycled. So instead of putting this back into the environment as another recyclable piece of paper and having it break down one step further and then be reused, which it takes fuel, it takes energy, it takes a lot to recycle this kind of stuff. What I'm gonna do instead is I want to recycle this into something that I used to do when I was a youngster in high school, and even junior high school. And I wanna show you that and teach you why this is a great idea. And it also is great to protect your sketchbooks or textbooks or books that you love to read or whatever. So it's a book cover, and we're gonna talk about that in just a minute. So stay tuned, come along, and I will show you how I use old paper bags as great resources for drawing and a great resource to protect your books. So come on along. Again, I'm so happy you're here. Thank you so much. And let's take a look at the paper bag book cover. One of the things I love to do is when I find a new book that I really am just happy with and I'm just dying to share it with people, like this book, The Envious Siblings by Landis Blair, which I found at the end of last year and just absolutely fell in love with it the moment I opened it. It's full of twisted humor, a lot like Edward Gorey or Charles Addams. It even reminds me of my own artwork a little bit, but the intricate details and I love the characters that Landis Blair creates in this book. If you haven't checked it out, I'll put a link down below to his site so you can check out his site. But this book is just wonderful, it's fun, and it was a great investment in a book that I'd never seen before. The artwork is phenomenal, but I love to share this with friends and family and even coworkers, so I'll bring it to work and let somebody borrow it and take it home so they can be exposed to this artist and this new book that I've found, and maybe purchase it for themselves or for their family. But when I do share it out, I want to make sure I protect it. I've lent books out in the past where people have put drinks on the cover and left a watermark, and I've actually had somebody spill something on it and ruin the book completely. So I want to make sure that I'm protecting the book. These things cost anywhere from $10 to $30, so I want to make sure I protect it. And that book is definitely worth protecting. Now, this is a black sketchbook that I got at maybe Michael's or a store like that, and you can't draw on this cover because that shiny black surface, there's nothing there you can do with it. You can put stickers on it maybe, but that's about it. So I want to put a book jacket on that as well. So what I'm going to use is just a paper bag, a pair of scissors, and you can use a straight edge and a pen, but those aren't even necessary. You could even just use your fingers to tear the paper bag. But very simply, you take a paper bag, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it down to a single sheet. And by doing that, what I'm going to do is the most important thing to cut off is the bottom of the bag. So I'm going to go right along the seam and just pick a seam, it doesn't matter, and just cut straight down along that seam. There's no rhyme or reason to this, but I want to cut the bottom off because the bottom part is the area of the bag that has the most glue. So that is really not much of use to me for this project. I can take that bottom and put it aside and maybe use it later for, scrap paper or whatever. So I can still continue to recycle that. But because it's all glue and everything, if that goes into recycling, that's a small part of the bag that I can actually dispose of. But I'll probably use it for something else later. So now, once I get this into a straight sheet, a flat sheet, I can then lay the book over it, this black sketchbook, and I'm going to use one of the creases. There's a lot of creases you can see on the bag already, but I'll use the most dominant crease to my advantage, and I'll use that for the binding area. And you can see I'm going to open the book up and I'm going to lay it flat out. And that means laying the binding out too. So that means holding the pages up straight so I can lay the whole book flat. And then I'm just going to mark it off with the pen on the paper. You don't need any measuring tools or a ruler or anything for this kind of thing. You can if you want. If you really want to get detailed about it, you can really measure it out. But this marking is going to give me enough information to get this book cover laid out. Here you see the handles here, they're just glued down. I don't need those, so I'm carefully ripping them off without ripping the paper. But overall, you can see this is now marked off, and I'm going to come out about 2 inches from that marking, and that is going to be the insert sleeve for the cover of the book. And the same thing on this side. You can see there's a crease here, so I'm going to cut just to the right of that crease so I don't have to worry about that folding piece. And then the whole page should just lay flat. Again, there's still creases in the paper bag, but they're not going to be a problem once I start folding this up. So here I'm going to use this metal straight edge, and I want to just fold right on the markings of the page. Now you can see I'm keeping the ink side of the paper bag, the one that says Whole Foods and all that, I'm keeping the ink side on the inside of the book cover. So the part that you'll see on the actual book will be blank. It'll be the other side. So here I'm, again, just using the straight edge, and I'm folding these down, and I want a nice tight crease. I want a nice sharp crease, so I'm going to fold these over and just use my fingers. There's no fancy tools needed or anything like that. And this is literally a 5 to 10 minute project, but the benefits of it are huge. It's so great to protect books and use it as a drawing surface as well, and you'll see that in just a moment. So by folding these over and making sure that crease is nice and sharp and crisp, I want to make sure that when I fold the sides over, these are the side flaps again that the cover is going to insert into. It may be a little tight once I try to get it in there, so I'll have to give it a little play. And you don't have to force it or anything like that, but I just don't want the paper to rip. So I'm very carefully going to try to insert this here. And it can be a little snug at first, but with some with some effort, you can get that right in there. So once you get the cover inserted into the side flap, you just bend the binding just a little bit to insert the other side, and now you've got your book. But it's tight because the paper hasn't been kind of pulled apart yet. So by opening it and closing it, you can work that cover, and if there's a little excess, you can just sort of tuck it under here. You can see I can fold it and then tuck it in and under, and that's fine. And it's going to be awesome because it's going to protect this book. It's going to keep it from getting ruined. And the best thing is you have these inside kind of flaps there, the inserts, where you can write information on. You can take the book cover out if you want to get rid of that book jacket or whatever, if it gets ruined, and make a new one, or you can keep it there. And this is where, biography information and stuff is on the inside flap. But now the cool thing is, this is my black sketchbook. It looks like every other black sketchbook you might see. So how do I make this my own? Well, I put this paper bag book cover on it, and now I can actually draw on it. And this is a great toned paper. It's a paper bag, but it's toned paper. So it works great with white colored pencil, and I'm using this dark brown pencil here. I'm not sure what color it is exactly, but the white pencil with the brown pencil makes a really nice complement, and it looks really cool. You can see I did that sort of embossed look, and now I'm just drawing with ink on it and making a little character, and this is going to look great. And to me, this is a great way to have a signature cover on a sketchbook, so whenever I go somewhere and I travel or whatever, this is my book and I can carry it, and people might know, hey, that's your book. This is another bag that I cut up into an accordion sketchbook. I've done videos in the past about accordion sketchbooks. I love accordion sketchbooks, and this was a fun way to create one just using a paper bag, just cutting it up the same way I would anything else. Also, I love to cut up little swatch sheets out of paper bags. So whenever I get paper bags, the first thing I usually do is I think about what am I going to use it for. So again, these are little sheets of toned paper that are just coming from the grocery store. So a great way to recycle them is to use them as drawing paper. And I do this all the time. I'll create a bunch of these swatches. Sometimes I'll staple them and bring them to work, just so I'll have some at work. It's a little kind of sketchbook that I have at work just to doodle when I'm on the phone or something. And so I have those swatches. I always have those on my desktop too. There's always a bunch of them. So you can see you can make book covers, you can make the accordion sketchbook, and you can protect your books and your investments. So I really hope this was helpful for you and just giving you some fresh ideas on what to do with a paper bag. So thank you so much for watching. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe so I can bring you more content like this. Thank you again for watching. Give me your feedback below if you like this idea, and as always, God bless.